Welcome back to Egypt Old Kingdom. You may remember in the last episode we had finished building all the tombs for the First Dynasty, but we're waiting for the transition to the Second Dynasty to occur. We noted there was some conflict within Egypt at this time. The quest for the Copper of the Sinai. Now, this bit, I didn't realize which expedition it was that failed near the end of the last episode, but it was this one. And so it's restarted now. But we're now quite a bit behind over here. It took us quite a while to assimilate this area, and now a failed expedition. Of course, those take 10 turns each. We really need this to conclude so we can move on to the next part of the tale here, because we can't pass this quest until we get a successful one. And then, moving to the next trial is another one of those points where you have to know what the game is doing. It's going to be a military one and a pretty strenuous one, and we're going to need some good luck in here to prepare and be successful at it. I'm not expecting a gold passage this time. It's probably going to be the first one we don't do that on. I will accept silver is my target. But we're going to cancel this expedition, and some other ones, when they complete, will be canceled as well. I'm going to reassign some here, and there's really needing to be now a military focus. I need to build up the military in advance of this trial that we're going to be seeing. Although we may not quite get to it in this particular episode, but we definitely want to prepare. So I'm going to knock down a couple of workshops, put barracks in place, and of course get Osiris and Seeker back up to help our economy. But we are still in the arid period, and you can see food is still a little bit short. So, and meanwhile, colonizing here, we're trying to assimilate here, trading here to gradually improve these relations. So a lot going on at the moment. Alright. And let's hit Osiris again. And then, yeah, we need to build the barracks, what we need to be doing. Syria explored. And then we have another expedition that we can cancel and boost our food supply. I also want to move on to our next advance here, which is the creation of literature. Creation of the first didactic literary text associated with the name of the architect Imhotep, which of course is a surprise to those of you who have seen the movie The Mummy, but that's not the Imhotep we're talking about. As a rule, all compositions of this genre were arranged as a dialogue between father and son, with the father trying to impart his life experience onto the son so that the latter could avoid mistakes. And, of course, that's a very common form of literature passing on wisdom throughout the ancient world. So the Bull people are unhappy with us. Okay. Well, that's a long time, so I guess we just ignore them for now. They're still neutral, at least, thankfully. Religious festivals. King, as a personification of Horus, had to demonstrate his power to all the gods and people. Special festivals have set in the running of the Apis bull, and the king appeared as a warrior, showing his prowess by running and defeating enemies. And as it relates to the Hebsed festival, it's actually quite interesting as something that's been used to track the reign of the longer kings, because it would only be celebrated when the king was in power for 30 years, and then every 3 years after that. So you could tell, at least at a basic level, how long the king reigned by when it was recorded the Hebsed festival had been celebrated. And essentially what it was is a reenactment, as far as we know, of the unification Upper and Lower Egypt under Menes. And our 2 barracks are in place. We have some more exploration coming in. So I'm going to go back and do some worshipping of Horus now. We'll hit Osiris again first. But that's basically just to boost our culture and our military. Specifically the military, now that we have the barracks up. As we try to get that army moving forward. And I think also we can probably... Yeah, let's grab stonework. So we've talked some about this before, but this is just the next step in the progression, preparing for the pyramids. Egyptians were the first to learn how to build with stone, required a gradual development of skills, picking stones of uniform quality, then tooling and laying them, and so on and so forth for the various structures. Temples, +1 favor every turn, and palaces, 2% culture. So we get those bonuses on the practical side. Ooh. Very nice. And this appears to be something rather official, but this is actually a random event. And one that I rarely see. So, +2 every turn, particularly for the luxuries, I will take it. We've colonized this area. Now the question is, do I want to leave you here, or do I want the food? And given how long this stuff is taking, I think I want the food. So I'd like to pull you back up there eventually. You are at what? Yeah, I need to stop this and begin working on this as well. That's really going to hurt our luxuries. But I need those two areas to join us. So, you can come down here, and at least we have a positive on food to a slight degree while all of this is going on. Now, the cities of the Levant. Settlements on the Mediterranean coast are flourishing at this time, influenced by Egyptian culture. Over time, they'll become cities: Byblos, Tyre, Ebla, Ugarit, and Sidon, many of them later becoming city-states. Lands of Amu, of course, the Levant area is this up here, so that should develop more gradually, or more quickly, I should say, and give us some more resources there. Do I want... I do not think I can afford quite yet. More on Osiris. Okay, we get more... The flax people have joined us. Excellent. These here. And now I'm going to switch you over here to give us that favor. Could be here with food and all of that. It's sort of debatable. Let's take a look. We will hit one more on Osiris now, and I will hit Seeker. And now we're +1. I'd like to be higher than that. You know what? I'm going to put you down in here too. I'm going to see if we can just get over the line to get one more worker in, is my goal here. Because we have to get 27. We have to get 5 more. Maybe in 2 more turns we can hit it. Let's see. Now our next advance is... We could get the step pyramids before we get any of these, but I actually want to save up for some more culture. So, you got to get up to 2,000 for that. Okay, very nice. And also nice is that we're going to cancel that. And that will boost our food that little bit more. That should get us over the line for this next turn to get that extra worker. And indeed it does. This expedition I want to keep going because we need the luxuries. Now we've got another worker, and I will put you over here. Bring in some more of that favor. But the key point is that you're about to either finish or not. We need this to go successfully. And we got it! Quest complete. Copper of the Sinai. So, we brought in a lot of copper. We will use it at once to build the tombs. We get +50 production. Actually, we won't use it at once to build the tombs because we're not building any tombs right now. But, eventually. And the next goal is conquest of Lower Nubia. Southern Nubians are threatening to unleash disorder in Egypt. Horus wishes to pacify the Nubians and gain access to their riches, gold, slaves, etc. Earlier Egyptians mostly only raided Nubia, but started with the 5th dynasty. Well, we're not even to the 2nd one yet. royal armies start to entrench themselves in foreign territory. Fortresses were built, as well as settlements and quarries. The region became much more peaceful thanks to this, and southern Egypt lives in order. So we are only one region away from this. We can now peacefully assimilate the Jackal people, which is what we need to do to complete it. We have the other three. But also, it's interesting that they have you do this because there's a big, long quest after this. You're supposed to do this well before the 5th dynasty, so there's definitely a mismatch of the event and the time frame for game purposes. So we can't domesticate them because we don't have enough food yet. We'll just wait one more turn. Do I want the favor or the food? I think I want the favor. And then we have now enough to progress forward. What do we want next? Autobiographies. More culture. Autobiographies of officials were the next step after didactic texts in the development of ancient Egyptian literature. Dignitaries committed their titles to writing, complementing them with descriptions of their successes, expressing hopes for a decent burial and sacrificial goods from the king and seeker. And so our culture now up over 300 a turn. And we're just waiting for this assimilation. I think, though... Yeah, let's hit Osiris one more time. Keep that going up. And the conquest of Lower Nubia now complete. So we got a quick completion on that one with the Jackal people. Order will now be even stronger in Egypt. We've gained gold and other riches as a reward. And we get plus 50 luxuries. And our next task is a little bit more difficult. Conquering the kingdom of Seth. The Nile Valley was a blessed land surrounded by the desolate realm of Seth. Desert was a source of chaos such as sandstorms. Nomad invasions, conquest of these lands was to be considered an onerous yet holy task. So basically conquering the rest of the map of Egypt, we are a little over halfway there. So there is much left to be done. That will be a gradual process. Meanwhile, we have the degradation of Nubians. Many native Nubians have left their settlements, returned to a nomadic lifestyle. The Nile Valley is now depopulated. So, in addition to the normal negative population we're getting from the arid period, we're getting even more negative over here now. This, obviously, is a nice area for resources, though. We want to be grabbing that. And so far, we're doing okay. I think we may do decent in the trial. Remains to be seen. I'll hit Osiris one more time. I want to be careful with doing it too much. Well, actually, no. We'll hit Horus and save the Osiris for later. And there we go. The Second Dynasty has come to power. Reigned during hard times. For the misfortunes it endured, descendants will hate its kings and erase their names. And interestingly, it's kind of a dark period in terms of direct evidence. So... the way that we understand the Second Dynasty now is largely by comparing what we found in the First Dynasty and what we found in the Third Dynasty, and sort of interpolating some of what happened in between. The first few kings of the Second Dynasty we have scattered information about, and the last few are even more questionable. But of course, that means more tombs to be built. So let's dive in here and take a look. And they want you to stay with the small size, even if we had the larger size unlocked, which we will soon. That's not part of the historical aspect at this point. The white limestone, but they do move us up to the Palace of Eternity for our default setting. So we have 14 now luxuries per turn and a total of 6 turns. So a lot more luxuries are going to be acquired to build these tombs. They will take longer, but still. And you can see our boost down here at the bottom. Quite a name to pronounce here as well. And Seth fires and misses. We're going to be attacked by the vulture people. Yay. Let's hit Seth again. And Seeker. Which is definitely going to knock our favor down quite a bit. We can create another worker. Let's do that. 45 is the amount that I want to stay at. We'll see why when we get to the trial. So I think food isn't going to be quite as important now. I think I'll resume exploring. And then, do I want... I definitely need to be actually building that tomb, though. That's going to be important. Not sure if this is a good idea, but I'm going to pull one worker out here and resume exploration as well. I just think we just need to be pushing out with our exploring more at this point. Let's see how that goes. Okay. So with our research now, I think we need to go to step pyramids because that will unlock all of these fun things. So a mud brick mastaba enlarged and with an added superstructure of smaller layers on top. Prototype for a step pyramid, and I like the way this is very rough and unrefined in the image there. Mimic that of the Mount of Benben, the source of all things. It was while he was sitting on that mound that the god Ra created the first couple of gods. Well, if you say so, but we get improvements that we aren't going to use yet for the royal tombs, and we get +1 favor. Well, that's unpleasant. We have cursed lands. Let's see if we can get rid of them without losing a worker. Odds? Not good. So the blessing of Horus has ended. And I think I'll hit Osiris one more time here. Up well over 1,000. Over 1,000 culture as well. I like where we're sitting with all of those. And let's just keep exploring. And here's our attack. Our odds look good, but let's be cautious here. That's what I didn't need right there, is to lose a bunch of people from the military. Oh my goodness. What a disaster. Yuck, we lost almost as many as they did. That really hurts. That's several turns worth of our improved military buildup. Okay, Great Horus commands the king to take a new wife from a foreign land. Intelligent daughter of a chief from the Scarab people. Or... do we approve it, or do we look further? I'm going to approve it. And an opulent wedding. Now, these are up to 91%, so we should be able to peacefully assimilate them. That should help. But yeah, that's a big blow to our military. That really hurts. I don't think we're ready for... Nope, we need a little bit more culture. One from Seth. Lost another worker. And the tomb of, I'm sure I'll butcher this name, but Head Up Sekami. Yeah, Head Up Sekami. Just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? But you can see all of the various rooms and everything down below. Just imagine the work that would have taken. And onward to our next one. Upper part of the tomb was quite like the ones of his predecessors, yet below it was a true subterranean palace. Titanic efforts required to cut a network of corridors and dozens of rooms from solid rock, and fill them with various riches so necessary for a king in the afterlife. Well worth it, right? Now, Hetep Sekemi is interesting in terms of the name, because one of the possible translations of it is basically unification of the two powers, or peace of the two powers, that kind of thing. The idea of reunifying the land after the conflict at the end of the First Dynasty. So we lost one of our workers there. Just going to have to leave that be, I think. Expedition is successful. Favor of Seeker. And then we also reached our next advance here. Although, yeah, why don't we just move you up there and have you finish that? I'd like to get that out of the way. So re-upping with Seeker, almost even on food, continuing to decline on these. But that's just sort of going to be par for the course at this stage. And for our next advance, I would like to go up here, but it's one of those, well, we need true pyramids to get that next culture boost. That would be here, but this is actually better. Funerary frescoes. That'll give us more favor. So our sort of next step in the funerary rituals is these frescoes decorated with scenes of daily life. Noble occupants shown experiencing the most notable moments of their life, and a soul returning from the other world felt more comfortable in a familiar domestic setting with sacrificial food awaiting them. And, you know, again, holding pretty steady on favor. Still have 1,000, although I'd like to have more on the military. That's our big expedition to the Sinai area. It failed again. Why? Oh, even worse. 1% chance of that happening. Just saying. So, yeah, the odds are definitely not in our favor at this moment. That appears to be very, very clear. So I'm going to yank you out of here. I guess we'll deal with clearing that out whenever, but we need these resources. Yuck. And a new trial is coming. Let's just cast that aside and keep going. Really? Really? The bull people are going to attack with that level? You know, we're just going to ignore that attack. We don't have the force to fight them right now. They're coming here, so we will need to move out of that area when they show up. Okay. I mean, I guess they're just going to pillage and take a bunch of our stuff, and there's not really going to be anything that we can do about it. So, the struggle continues. See, do we have... Yeah. I'm going to hit Horus again. Of course, that has been boosted. The Osiris bonus has. And let's see, I don't think we're quite ready. We are not. True Pyramids will be next. And there is our second tomb. The tomb of Reneb, who, so far as I know, had a fairly brief and undistinguished reign. Seeker again. And then let's hit the True Pyramids here to get that extra favor. And now there's nothing stopping us from saving up for that next culture boost. And quite impressive, of course, to the previous structures. We're not going to be building these anytime soon, but step pyramid shape gave way to true pyramids, even taller and more graceful. And even in the present day, the pyramids command admiration as if they were built not by mortals, but by gods or aliens. Indeed. Cue Ancient Aliens music. And Seth strikes us again, so we'll have to re-up there. Which is going to keep our favor in line. And I'm not liking our odds of smoothly going through it. It's probably going to be pretty rough. But over here, if you look at the numbers, I mean, even if we use the favor of Nath to fight this battle better, I'm going to consider it. But I don't think that we could fight off this attack. I mean, let's see what that percentage would be. Yeah, 27%. They would still be stronger than us unless we got lucky. And then we would lose a bunch of troops, so we wouldn't be able to handle the next trial. So I don't think there's any choice. We're going to have to abandon this. But going forward to the next episode, the next trial definitely will be coming up very soon. And it could be a rough one. We have definitely not had the level of good fortune that I needed to make it go well. But we'll do the best we can with it, and that'll be coming up. Thanks for watching, everyone.